Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day 3 of the Winter Invitational. I'm joined by AWash as we have Kool-Aid Men in blue taking on NVS Esports in orange.
Nice to be back on the broadcast, Nation. Glad to be back for once again, or for yet another Grand Circuit, uh, you know, finale basically that we're going to be heading into once we have our second semifinal decided.
Yeah, and, a lot of Grand Circuit points still on the line here tonight, and our last cast was the Grand Circuit Championship, so it's a new year here, AWash. Both teams trying to find their way back to the Grand Finals, where Draco Esports will await them, and we're already 15 seconds through, and NVS put off a big win last night, and Kool-Aid Men pretty comfortably in their quarterfinal matchup, so both these teams pretty evenly matched up, I'd say, so I think we should be in for a good series.
Yeah, definitely wanted to touch on a lot of the previous results that both of these teams had leading up to this point. None of them really striking the eye all that much, although Kool-Aid Men's win over a TTO side that ultimately fell out in round 5 was probably the most notable of any of the wins leading up to this point. But I think all things considered, both these teams very even on the stats, very even on paper, very even on the field.
Yeah, Kool-Aid Men got that big win over TTO in round 3, and that was on stream 3-1 for Kool-Aid Men. So they're, feeling pretty good going to day 3 here. Still have not suffered a loss. Only 1 game or 2 games dropped throughout the whole weekend, so it's a pretty solid start for them. But NVS trying to play spoiler here to their perfect weekend.
Yep, and this is a great way to start. Skyline getting on the board first.
Kool-Aid Men on the board early here, about minute 10 gone, and it's a good start for Kool-Aid Men. And now NVS got to find a way to respond here, AWash, and minute 10 gone, and NVS can one of those teams are Division 2, so matches are playing up to their skill level of Kool-Aid Men, and if Kool-Aid Men can take total control of this series, we could very well be in and out of 4 games here.
Yeah, I think it's actually very doable for teams to play up to the Kool-Aid Men's level. I know my team has done it on at least one other occasion, and from some of the other results I've seen for Kool-Aid Men leading up to this point, I think that can definitely be the case. Hasn't really been the story in the Grand Circuit, but in other competitions it has definitely happened. So there's definitely a way for NVS for NVS to find a way through Kool-Aid Men. It might take some time though.
Definitely will take some time indeed. It's 2-0 now, and Ink almost kept that one out just in time, but Matt makes it 2-0. It's a close chance there, and TKD, he's just caught in no man's land here. AWash and Ink behind him nearly kept it out, but just off the bar, and it comes down and right back in his net. It's 2-0.
Yeah, getting caught in those types of situations are not going to be helpful for NVS or anybody for that matter. It's going to have to be a very controlled game from NVS. If I remember correctly, a lot of these players on Kool-Aid Men have some pretty good mechanics on them. So NVS putting themselves in 1v1 situations, not really going to be the strategy tonight.
Yeah, their key to victory here is keeping the ball on the ground and playing as a team together, just like we watched New England Kings tend to do to Draco Esports. So when you're kind of the team that's not really supposed to win, you got to dig down deep and find ways to win here. And we're about halfway through game 1, and it's been all Kool-Aid Men in total control of this series. But again, it could be a long series. There's plenty of time to adjust and make the right moves here to pull off Kool-Aid Men and maybe throw them off a little bit.
A little nervy moment from Getz. It looks like NVS will see themselves at least out of immediate trouble for a couple of seconds. A dangerous ball dropped in front of the net by Painter as well, but now TKD with possession flicks infield. Is there an option? There was, but it's cut out by Kool-Aid Men. Painter on the counter, trying to set something up off of the backboard and not quite able to make it connect, but Skyline keeps the play alive. TKD out towards Ink, and Painter picks it up, but Ink with a excellent dunk to push it back out to midfield, but Matt still threatening with ball possession.
Kool-Aid Men are just playing, super fast, and NVS is just facing a lot of offensive pressure here from Kool-Aid Men. They're just getting dusted to every ball and really not had a lot of time to make moves on the offensive side of things. It's just been all on defense for the last 3.5 minutes or so, and they've had maybe 1-2 looks on offense, but Kool-Aid Men to no avail, just completely taking them out of harm's way.
This is a good look on the transition. TKD, great block in front of the net. Makes it a little bit difficult for Kool-Aid Men to break out here. The pressure is definitely attempting to be piled on. It's going to take a clear off the backboard from TKD to give the ball away. And now Skyline trying to do it themselves over one, almost under the second. They get the demo on the third. Now Painter and Matt, can they see this play out? They cannot. Ink hits it away. And now it's Skyline and Matt, almost a miscommunication on who was supposed to take that ball around and off of the backboard. Painter off the corner out towards midfield. There's no real need for Kool-Aid men to be super hyper aggressive in these final moments. They just need to play out the 50s, make sure that they go in their favor, maybe find a nice opportunity for an easy third like that.
Yeah, and these two teams have not met before this year in the Grand Circuit, so it's probably been a long time since these two teams have played each other, if they have, so both these teams unfamiliar with how each team plays, and we're out 30 seconds through, and this is going looking pretty comfortable here for Kool-Aid Man, but 30 seconds left. We might see one more out of NVS or Kool-Aid Man. That's a miss from Ink. It's just going to fall right through.
Yep. Again, those situations you have to avoid it. That's actually the second time that NVS has been caught with their third, just a little bit nervy. I think the positioning has been okay, but maybe just feeling a little rushed, a little panicky to try to get up and make contact or to challenge the ball for that matter. So not a crucial mistake, not really a systemic mistake either. Probably just kind of the heat of the moment, first game jitters, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's game one, so these teams are going to feel each other out and kind of make the adjustments looking forward to game two. And NVS looking for one for the road there, but do not come up with a goal. And it's a shutout victory for Kool-Aid Men. 3-0 the final score. We go to game two, a wash, and Kool-Aid Men looking all but comfortable here.
Yeah, I'd say that they controlled a good majority of that match. Although NVS didn't look too bad either. I think a 1-0 scoreline may have been more appropriate, just given the back third issue that I mentioned earlier. But for the Kool-Aid Men, if they can just keep possession of the ball, and they do this very well, then they'll be able to control the proceedings. They won't need to really score a truckload of goals. They'll just need to get one, maybe two, and then shut down NVS from really getting anything on their end.
I agree. I mean, Kool-Aid Man has had a lot of really good results throughout this year, and even at Tactical Banditry as well, which we both know all too well. And they've had some really good results over the Day 3 RLCS team. So this team, very, very top-heavy caliber. NVS going to try to find a way to attack this defense of Kool-Aid Men and break the ice. They still are no goals in this series. So once they get that first goal, I think things start to kind of change a little bit.
Yeah, it'll instill a little bit of confidence in them for sure, especially when you will probably for a lot of this Grand Circuit, the whole qualification period, they feel like they've been playing up a level, outside of maybe what they were expecting or what other people expected them. I think anything at this point is surely a bonus, but they still will want that win. Maybe some nerves associated with, oh, this is like a very strong team that we're going up against. Maybe we're not expected to win this, but as long as they've got the belief in themselves that they can do it, they'll always give themselves a chance.
For sure. I mean, it took NVS took them 5 rounds to get here, but Getz does make it through. The first lead tonight for NVS here, and just 27 seconds gone, and NVS on the board early. It's good positive momentum moving forward.
Yeah, we saw a little hint of these mechanics towards the end of game one, and to see them actually bring a result in the form of a goal for NVS will definitely give them a sort of reassurance, if anything, that they can match what Kool-Aid Men brings to the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it took them 5 rounds from the Stage 2 qualifiers, and in the main event, they qualified through 4 rounds with pretty big victories here. But now Kool-Aid Man can look to respond after starting down 0-1, and Painter taking control here, but a double commit again on NVS, and they don't get punished that time.
Yeah, they may not get punished immediately, but Skyline punched that one all the way up towards the top corner. TKD had to be called into action, and it still meant a little bit of possession for the Kool-Aid Men. Can they convert it?
Pass across, the Painter goes down underneath, forcing the 50. It goes towards the corner, though. About a minute gone, A-Wash in a completely different ball game that we've seen so far tonight in Game 2 than what we just watched in Game 1.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing still quite a bit of the possession and the control of the match from Kool-Aid Men. However, NVS have still looked pretty good at being able to hold back long enough to be able to find some of the crucial clears, some of the crucial 50s that can buy them some time and buy them some space. Ain't gonna have to turn around quickly, but Skyline was there first, gets a strong touch out past the midfield, tried to get the 50 on Matt. It didn't quite work out, but Ink will have a full boost corner tank full, but it doesn't really turn into anything. Sometimes these long booming clears, not quite the case. I'd like to see NVS try to get these touches towards one of their teammates so that they can have a controlled approach downfield.
Thinking that back half here. Now back on defense is NVS, and we see the pressure change for Kool. A powerful shot there. It's just going to be wide, though, and TKD has got to clear out harm's way, and he will. And we're approaching halftime here, Washington. Kool still down 1 here, and it's a completely different ball game for NVS. They've just done a stellar job of holding back the Kool offense.
Yeah, so far so good. Gets nice little pop pass one, calls Skyline the third into action, forces actually a little mishap in terms of the control, and now Ink with a slow play sees it past one, almost got it past Matt, and that would have been a great opportunity for a pass infield. Gets still trying to see if they can get the crosses working. We'll see if they can do anything similar or perhaps improve on that crossing in the final 2 minutes.
Final 2 minutes here approaching in game 2. A game that if it's won by NVS, we're at an equal score. And sure, NVS does not want to go down 0-2 here to a team like Kool-Aid Men, who is just, a better team than them at the end of the day. But they're putting up a strong fight here, but a lot of clock still to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, I like the idea from NVS there. Unfortunately, the second person pushed up just a little bit too far, and ooh, that's going to go down probably as an own goal for Painter, but that's still a well-worked counterattack by NVS.
That touch off Matt's car, and the 50 just goes right into Painter, and Getz didn't even see him behind him. It comes from the right side, and that's just lucky for NVS. It goes right to Painter. It's an own goal. Now it's 2-0 Kool-Aid Men to find themselves down 2 here with not a lot of clock to go.
Actually, back NVS in this position. They've done pretty well so far at being able to hold off any sort of consistent pressure from Kool-Aid Men. So I think that they could see this out 2-0, possibly even 2-1 if things get a little hairy like they are at the moment. Crucial bump on the Painter pushes that ball back out towards midfield a little bit. And a little bit of calmness and composure from Ink to see this out towards midfield. Was the recovery good enough from their teammates? It was not. Matt is able to find the top right corner without too much trouble.
Here comes the comeback, Wash. Matt perfectly placed that top right corner. Yeah, minute 22 to go, and we're back within 1, and 80 seconds is a lot of time now for 1 goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if the NVS system does happen to break down. I had been hyping it up, but it had been pretty good up to that point, and of course the last 30 seconds or so was pretty much all Kool-Aid Men and just waiting for them to be able to get that finishing touch on target. We'll see if NVS, crucial block, maybe it'll turn into one more. I thought Painter was actually going to get another own goal, but the bump ends up just working out for NVS to get a clear shot on net.
And now we're back to a 2-goal lead here in NVS strike with a minute to go, and Painter just kind of gets caught in no man's land like you just mentioned. In 61 seconds now, Kool-Aid Men down 2. They got to find something quick here, leave time on the clock for 1 more.
Absolutely. A little bit of a miscommunication between Painter and Skyline. Not the first one that we've seen so far, as Skyline does make the last-ditch effort count. Ooh, that 50 turns into a great pass to Matt, who finds the opposite post. Skyline there just for reassurance. But Kool-Aid Men, they're not quite out of it yet.
What a play there. A quick turnaround here to go back within 1, and Skyline trying to force the 50 to keep it out, and Matt gets credit. 45 seconds left now. Kool-Aid Men back in an okay, comfortable position here, down 1, with a lot of clock left.
Yeah, certainly favoring the Kool-Aid Men as they attempt to get yet another goal, just to see it out to overtime. The counterattacks seem to be working so far. Skyline loses out on the 50 there, but Matt sees Painter in front of the net. It's so close, but they just were not able to find that connection. TKD sends it under 1, hoping for a favorable 50 there. Getz has to avoid the bump. The must-save flick off the crossbar as the save from Matt keeps the Kool-Aid Men alive in game 2.
What a transition to play of events there, Awash. We just saw 2 beautiful chances get taken away in the final moments. Flip reset for Painter. He can't finish it off, and a long clear comes through. 0 seconds, it's still alive.
Ooh, very nervy ending for both squads, but NVS does find a way to get themselves out on top. Of course, Getz leading the way with 2 goals and an assist, plus 2 saves, especially that brilliant opening goal, the flip reset, certainly setting the momentum for NVS into game 2. And hopefully this win, even though it was nervy at moments, if they can find their composure, then this game will serve as kind of a framework for them to move forward and try to get a couple more games off Kool-Aid Men.
Man, I thought that Muskie was going to go right through, but the defender got just back just in the nick of time to keep it out. Now it's 1-1, right an even series here. A-Wash and NVS ready to go right into game 3, and normally they do take the full 60 to go to the next game, and they're just ready to go back on track, and they're in control now. They have good momentum moving forward, and they just get a big win there in game 2 after a pretty dominant performance in the early part.
I think if Getz had managed to get that musty flick, that would have been an even bigger boost to their
Morale.
confidence and to their momentum. I think Getz actually got bumped on the approacher, which actually makes it more impressive that he was even able to get the musty flick in the first place. But regardless, NVS Getz actually might be able to start this off with yet another good solo play. Tried to hope for the favorable 50. Doesn't quite go towards the net, but at least turns into a 50-50 battle from the corners of both pitches, actually, or both sides of the pitch.
And 20 seconds gone here. Koolman back into the back part here, gets over one. And now NVS back on defense early. We saw last game the pressure off the rip was all NVS. And here comes Koolman, a chance. 30 seconds off the clock, and NVS facing the pressure.
Yeah, certainly. It looked like there was a little bit of a gap in the rotations for a split second. And unfortunately for NPS, that can't happen too often, or else the Kool-Aid men will find a way to exploit it more often than not. Gets great show of possession to just keep this ball close, force the 50-on-1, and perhaps getting a little bit too caught up in the initial approach. Gonna require Gets yet again to help out through the sidewall. Painter off the corner, hoping that somebody will dive in, will go after it themselves. Ink sends it out. Can Skyline get there in time? They can. Light touch off their rear end, sends it towards the corner.
Demo from the backside on Ink here to 3-on-2 as gets over one. Last man back, but the clear does come through for Painter. And now NVS looking to extend forward. It's TKD going to hold it in play, but now possession back in the hands of Koolman with low boost to work with. 90 seconds gone.
Gets that corner boost pickup was pretty big. Can they turn it into a double? It doesn't quite get the roll to make that happen. However, the push downfield will certainly be helpful. The transition from the Kool-Aid men, a little bit disjointed. Man, takes a shot towards the far post, and the net was open. The angle wasn't quite right, but it was a half-decent look for the Kool-Aid men. Can they capitalize on this pressure?
3:06 to go. It's a big shot there from Matt. Ink along clear forward. Plenty of boost for TKD. Goes to the pre-flip, but Ink puts on the shot. It is wide, and Koolman come away with unscathed.
Wasn't sure if Ink had enough boost to actually pop that up to themselves and then follow it themselves. I think that would have been the better option if the boost was available. Certainly still turning into a half-decent chance for some control and some possession out of the midfield line. Matt off the back, or I'm sorry, off of the ceiling. Ink follows it up, but Painter now 1v1 with TKD, sends it low for a ground pinch. It requires both TKD and Getz getting on top of it to keep it from going over the line.
2:25 to go. Pass across, it's cut off by Getz, and we're past halftime. No early goals here in the first frame of Game 3, A-Wash, and a lot of time still on the clock to go here, but we see Koolman getting pressured here as NVS trying to get a little aggressive here like we saw in Game 2, and it's starting to work out.
Strong 50 off the ceiling. Painter, the pre-jump off of, or to try to confuse Ink. Double whiff and a bump on TKD. This could be a little bit difficult for NVS to get out of, but the pressure from the Kool-Aid men is just gonna fall apart. TKD under two finds the back post. It's just narrowly wide. Kool-Aid men barely escaping that counter attack. Do they have one of their own? Painter gets it past Gets' TKD there in time. They are. It still sees its way out towards Painter, but not able to gather possession. A 50 past the midfield line. TKD going off the ceiling, doesn't get the contact.
It's definitely not the start to this series I thought we were going to see, and NVS is really putting it to them right now. Massive props to them for keeping this series close, and Koolman have got to find a way to respond. I feel like they're really kind of the better team here. It's NVS right now. They're playing a better series, and Koolman's got to make the adaptations and find the way back, because this has been all NVS in Game 3.
Yeah, I think there's been some mistakes from both sides that have caused goal-scoring opportunities to kind of not develop the way that they hoped. But Skyline hoping for something in this last minute. I think has the boost to maybe get one more touch. The 50 not quite there as Matt pops it up. Gets nice little touch off of the sidewall to just make the Kool-Aid men think twice about their initial challenge. It's back on their own half now with Painter trying to dunk ing. It does happen. Is there a pass out mid? Matt was looking for it. Pops it off the back wall. TKD going to be able to push it past Skyline. And the pressure not quite creating anything yet for the Kool-Aid men. NVS might have a counterattack here, though.
Matt, last man back from the corner here, facing pressure here from NVS, but the clear does come through. Now it's a free jump for Matt. That's off target. It's going to be the corner as Zake now low boost gets stolen from Matt here. 10 seconds left. Kool-Aid might have one chance here.
The pops over the third man, almost costing NVS yet again, but it looks like they've done enough to see themselves into overtime. The light touch from TKD rolls down the corner of the wall. We've got overtime in it. Game 3, Nation. It looks like it's going to be a very clean beat from NVS on the kickoff. Not quite sure what happened to the Kool-Aid men there. Certainly an unorthodox kickoff, but it looks like everybody's still revving and raring to go. Quick shot from Skyline and not going to squeeze itself past the front post.
Yeah, looks like Painter might be DC'd, so we might see a substitution after this game is over, but 30 seconds left to go. We lost connection, so it's a 2-on-3 now, and Kool-Aid can't afford to go down 2-1 here. It's now NVS off the sideline, and it's going to be all NVS here while Kool-Aid's down a man.
Yeah, if it's a quick disconnect, I think Kool-Aid men have the possession skills to keep this alive until their third can reconnect, but it's going to be tough, especially when TKD is going to get super physical, bait Matt and Skyline into both challenging the air dribble from Getz, and under quite unfortunate circumstances. The Kool-Aid men are not able to clutch out. NVS will get game 3, but regardless, I think that even if they had been 3-on-3, this match could have gone either way. It was just looking for one moment from somebody on one of these teams to be able to create something out of nothing and just kind of beat the entire team.
Yeah, and Painter literally just reconnected as we got to the scoreboard here. So give Kool-Aid maybe 5-10 more seconds, and it would have been back to a 3-on-3, and who knows what would have happened there. And now they're going to pay the repercussion being down 2-1.
Yeah, that's one of the unfortunate, just, I guess, nuances about just competition in general. Sometimes things just don't quite go your way, but Kool-Aid men certainly have enough in them to be able to respond positively despite this minor setback.
Yeah, I mean, if we had Abner Burns, could have paused the game there, but unfortunately we don't, as the rules say that play continues through disconnection. So we're going to go to game 4, and it's 2-1 NVS, is now Kool-Aid men down in the series.
Yeah, NVS is, I'm sure, going to be noting that that match could have, or that last game could have not gone the way if they weren't a little bit more careful, I think. But they'll take the game regardless and perhaps make some more adjustments to try to get themselves on the board earlier than having to wait until an overtime goal to make it happen.
4:55 to go here, and already up the kickoff, we see a big change made from Kool-Aid, but they're already back on defense. They got to get the offense more comfortable in the other side of the field. I just feel like they're a little scared, and they haven't really gotten a lot of chances to do anything, as this NVS defense has stood tall and played pretty stellar so far.
Matt's little pop off the sidewall. He's looking for somebody in field. Skyline was thinking about it. Basat gets up, gets able to keep it in the corner to try to draw in their teammates for support. Ink does very well to get the clearance out with no boost, hoping for a light flick. Gets it past one, but Skyline, and I believe that was Painter as well, coming in for the support for the Kool-Aid men. Has to be careful here with Painter chasing a demo on whoever decides to pick up possession. Ink with an excellent flick, though. Still managing to put it on target, but Matt out to the corner.
1 minute gone. Getz from the right side. NVS trying to extend their lead in this series in game number 4 with a win, but Kool-Aid looking to tie it up here at Washington, at least guarantee a game 6, as Matt in the back corner has to be touched here in Will. As minute 10 gone, and NVS just really putting the pressure on here, making Kool-Aid work for every little chance they're given.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a good redirect from Painter, and you can see that there's no lack of effort from either side in trying to get this ball down the field, but it's just not quite working out for either one of them, like, super effectively. The good looks are there. It feels like at times the execution is somewhat lacking.
Right, and I think, NVS while they know that this series is an uphill battle, but they're doing everything perfectly, playing up to Koolman. They're doing a stellar job, and here comes NVS right back downfield. This one's still scoreless, though we saw a scoreless regulation in Game 3, and both these teams just seem so evenly matched, and Koolman are going to make the best of what they're given and find their front footing.
That was a really nervy moment from NVS. Both the first and second man rotating ball side gets nearly getting caught up in all of that mess as they were trying to control the ball. They will have possession through this corner though. Skyline and Matt putting on the initial pressure from the Kool-Aid Men. Ink needs to get out to block Painter. They do. TKD rolls up the corner or off the sidewall, but Matt is there looking for something off the ceiling. Doesn't get the read. Skyline comes in for the finish, and the Kool-Aid Men on the board first.
Have their first lead since game number 1 here in game 4. 2:30 to go, and Kool-Aid Men looking to resurge their lead here and assert their dominance really in this 4th game and get back on top in this series and take control. But we're halfway through now. NVS are going to look to respond.
And we'll see if this ends up becoming a trend for Kool-Aid Men. The games that they get the first shot in, or sorry, the first goal in, do they decide to just kind of sit back, play the 50-50 game, and limit the number of good opportunities that NVS is able to get? Like that play from Painter and the follow-up demo on Matt. This could open something up as NVS's defense kind of in a mush, I suppose. I don't know a better way to describe it, but definitely for the Kool-Aid Men, they're going to want to make that happen a little bit more often. They might be able to get a free second goal off of it.
And there it is. Painter is wide open. The caster curse hits in minute 52, and it's 2-0 for Kool-Aid Men.
Yeah, certainly a curse if you're envious. A blessing if you're Skyline. Skyline and Painter, as you have pretty much the freest opportunity that you've had the entire series.
And you cannot miss those 3 opportunities you're given, and they make it count there. And off the kickoff, it's a demo comes through, and NVS that's on target, but the defender Matt gets the save the day here, and still 2-0.
2-0 leads, not exactly the safest leads in soccer or Rocket League, but they can be comfortable if you play them right. If you don't exactly just like park the bus, but you don't exactly push up and like send the entire kitchen sink. You have to find that fine balance that gives you solidity and consistency without any high risk taking.
Yeah, and last night Gator and I were talking about just that, and keep putting it, don't take your foot off the pedal here. It's only 2-0. You want to keep putting on shots and goals and make this a near impossible comeback for NVS, and Kool-Aid are going to continue to put the pressure on here and really take their foot off the pedal and do all they can to get this game in theirs.
It's chasing this down, and a nice pinch attempt. It's Ink looks like they've got on the end of it. Potential shot from TKD. I think the flip was maybe a little bit too early, or the direction was not quite right as it went a little high over the bar. It was certainly a good look though, but it's moments like that where you need to make sure that you can be clinical is really the best way to put it. You don't take those sorts of chances where a good portion of the net is open. You're not really going to be doing yourself any favors in trying to win these games.
Right, 20 seconds to go here in Game 4. Looking like it's all for Kool-Aid Men. Matt trying to make it 3-0 with the double hand will. What a placement there. 14 seconds to go. The Game 4 might be all said and done after that.
Yeah, I'd certainly say so. NVS can't really worry about the rest of this game at this point. They just need to make sure that they don't make it any worse and kind of just reset the mental, reset the strategy a little bit, and come into game 5 actually with a fresh perspective on this whole series and how they might be able to get 2 more games off of the Kool-Aid Men.
Yeah, and we're right back at an equal slate going to Game 5 as well. Tied 2-0 in this series. We go to Game 5. It's a best of 3 now, A-Wash.
Yeah, absolutely. It means that after this point, there's not a whole lot of adjusting that you can do, but it also means that the stakes are a lot higher. Every little miscalculation will mean a whole lot more because you don't have as many extra lives left.
Right, I mean, you can only drop one more game here without getting eliminated, so we go to Game 5 and it's 2-2, and you drop one more, you're in your last life.
Yeah, nobody really wants to be in that position, but there is an argument to be made that if you want to consider yourselves Grand Circuit Grand Circuit champions, or at least Grand Circuit finalists, you'll have to either able to create that opportunity or create that situation for yourself, or be able to dig yourself out of that situation if you find yourself in it.
Right, and we go look forward to here to game number 5, and now Kool, they've kind of gotten their confidence back here. They get a big win in game number 4, and now we almost are ready for game 5. We're waiting for the players to connect to the lobby here, and hopefully players get in soon. We can get back started. But what a series it's been so far.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that any one team has completely dominated the proceedings. Just throughout the entire series, I think there's been moments for either team to say that yeah, we controlled the game for a good portion of it. And the scoreline, the series scoreline for the most part reflects that. I think it's going to be which team can kind of turn it up a notch. We could see 7 if things kind of stay as even as they are, but I fully expect one of these teams to be able to shift the gears a little bit and really take it to their opponents. Try to pile on that pressure, force them into mistakes, and create a lot of goals.
Right, and as we're still waiting here, game 5 upcoming hopefully shortly, as we're going to go a quick 5-minute break and get things underway. Alrighty, we're back here for game number 5 as Kool and NVS set to hit the pitch for what could be 2 more times. As game 7 still looming here. We might get the first game 7 though, AWash, of the entire weekend.
Yeah, I think that this match is actually our best bet at seeing that. Considering the dominance that Draco has had over pretty much everybody in BLCS for the past however long they've been here, you almost never expect them to go to 7. You really don't expect them to lose in general. So I think Kool-Aid Men, NVS, about as even as it's going to get this late in the tournament. I think a best of 7 would be very appropriate.
Right, I think if I'm not wrong, the last year Draco's only been in a game 7 one time, and that was at Grand Circuit Championships last year in the Grand Finals Team Takeover. That went to game 7. It was me and you on the call. I think that's the only time we've ever seen them in a game 7. So we've had a couple of game 6s with them, but it's pretty tough to take that team to game 7.
Perhaps the AWash Nation buff is what teams need to be able to send Draco to 7.
Yeah, the casting buff might be real AWash. We just watched NEK do it to game 6, though they should have gone to game 7, but unfortunate circumstances there. We're back in the underway here for game 5. NVS and Kool Men set to hit the pitch, and we're underway.
Oh my goodness. An incredible start for NVS. Right out of the gates, they gather possession in their own half, send it all the way through not one, but 2 players, and then Skyline finds themselves awkward at the front post. Ink with the patient play to the back post. 1-0 NVS.
NVS really putting on a show this weekend here. They're showcasing why they need to be here, and they're making Kool look kind of silly here, AWash, and they're going to win this series. It comes here in Game 5. They got to find a victory here and have another life to give. Has 4.5 off the clock now. Game 5, about 30 seconds gone, and Kool already down 1-0.
Yeah, playing from a disadvantageous position this early in the game, not exactly the start that you want if you're the Kool-Aid Men, but they've certainly got the potential to be able to turn this around, especially if they're going to keep getting aggressive like this. I've seen quite a few bumps in these opening exchanges, although they have to make sure that they don't overextend themselves too much, and likewise, NVS need to make sure that they can avoid any shifts in play from the Kool-Aid Men.
4 minutes on the clock to go. This one sent high. TKD along clear, though, and NVS right back on offense here. A 2-on-1. Look for the demo. Will not connect there as Matt makes the save and makes another touch here. And Skyline up for it. Does get dusted, though, as NVS recollect back on offense in. That's a big flip reset there. And now Kool faces some pressure here, AWash.
Ooh, good aerial transition potential from the Kool-Aid Men, but gets the beat on the third, leaves the net open. Is Ink able to finish it off? They do. right down the middle. Great counterattack from NVS. And now the Kool-Aid men, they're kind of in a tough situation here. They've got caught overextending twice already. Do they continue to risk it and continue doing that in hopes of seeing some results for it in the rest of this game? Or do they reset, take things back, and maybe try the slow, controlled approach again to avoid these counter situations?
I think it's going to come down to the slow, controlled approach like you just mentioned. I think Kool-Aid men here are going to make the right adjustments, and NVS is putting on a really talented performance, and Kool-Aid men still are unable to really make the right changes and get through this NVS defense as they've been held scoreless here for the first 2 minutes of Game 5, and this offense, once it gets started, it's pretty hard to stop it.
Yeah, clearly the shift to like uber aggressive, really physical play hasn't paid its dividends immediately, and perhaps just a switch back to the original style of play and then kind of going from there is the best approach for Skyline. Although they signed themselves 1v1 Matt versus TKD, and TKD able to push it up towards the backboard. Ink following through as well, trying to make things difficult yet again. TKD with the boost, I think, hoping that they can earn a 50 that Getz could get onto. Ink will push it all the way back, although it's a tough roll for Getz to latch onto. Definitely needed a little bit of an assistance on the whiff from the Kool-Aid men there. Now Matt pinch off the sidewall. Gets punched into a dangerous position. The Skyline have it. They don't off the backboard. Ink can't get there, but there's no shot. Missed opportunity for the Kool-Aid men.
Right, that's a huge mistake there. No one was there, and the demo comes through. It's over 1 here. This has to be a goal for Kool-Aid men. Matt gets to 50. The shot's there. Painter will get the finish off, and it's 2:02 on the clock. 2-1, and now Kool-Aid men bring it back within 1.
Yeah, it felt like the goal from that mess should have happened probably 15 or 20 seconds earlier. Nevertheless, it is a goal. It does leave them within that realm of being able to get a 0-second goal when it comes times to it. Although the kickoff not well executed from the Kool-Aid men almost made them go back to a 2-goal deficit. TKD's strong 50s setting up Ink for a beat past 1, has the control and not a whole lot of boost to work with, and Painter gets a favorable 50 out to midfield.
Now gets off the sidewall here. Not go for the flip. Takes the air dribble for himself. The air dribble is cut short. Matt, what a save. It's still 2-1. We're still within 1 here, AWash, and 90 seconds on the clock left for Kool-Aid to tie this one up.
That was really looking good. I thought that the squeeze might have been able to work with but the crossbar saying, nah, not this time around. We're going to keep this a 1-goal game for the moment being. Good block here from Team NVS, or from NVS, as they're looking to still keep the Kool-Aid men from getting any clear opportunities. A double commit, not quite as helpful. There's a demo on the third. Painter needs to see this to the top corner, and he does. All tied up, Nation.
I just think that's going to be a goal. We saw 2 go in the initial challenge. Demo comes through. Getz got bumped, and he gets up for the save, but he just doesn't make contact, and Painter gets the double. 59 seconds to go. Kool-Aid men now back in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. The momentum on their side in the final minute. It seems like they've found a way to make the physical play work without the overly aggressive nature of the challenges, or at least finding the physical plays in the right moment so that they don't end up being super aggressive. Certainly the adjustments that needed to be made. Is it going to be a third? It's not. It's very close for multiple Kool-Aid men players. To finding the back of the net. Skyline takes it to ground. Matt looking for top corner yet again. Punched out of the way. Gets now trying to find some sort of possession. Will have it. Takes it to the skies. Flip reset. Not going to use it even if they did get it. Skyline in the initial challenge finds it out to Painter. Now Ink off of the ceiling and the backboard. Matt able to get it out to midfield.
10 seconds on the clock to go here. Painter off the ceiling. Touch there. TKD up to Ink. The bump attempt there from Getz didn't work out. Now Kool-Aid men from the back end might have one chance to fully extend for an opportunity, and Painter's going to let it hit the ground. We're going to overtime for back-to-back games.
Who's got the ice in Game 5? That is the big question right now. NVS or the Kool-Aid men? Every moment for Matt, but they still see it past 2. TKD out towards the corner. Skyline hits it towards the middle. Ink hoping for something nasty off of the backboard to set up for a teammate. Gets had the front post just open for a hint of a second. and Painter able to make the block and the follow-up on the backboard. Matt now needs to be careful here as the physical play coming in from NVS. Inc. flicks it over 2, well, kind of over 1.5. Painter still able to get a nice touch. Back pass towards TKD, but the bump from Matt going to give Painter a little bit of time to make this clear out to the side.
Yeah, what a realization there. And gets the bump right on TKD's a long clear up to Painter. Can he
Oh.
extend? No. As NVS now back on defense. It's awkward. Miss. The clear does come through. And now Koolman with a chance to strike. But NVS get a long clear forward.
NVS has looked a little nervy in the final third with some of these lighter and slower possessions. They need to make sure that they can fix that for the following games. Of course, Game 7 still TBD, but Game 6 still a sure thing that we have in this series. Painter to the ground. Is there a pass in field? TKD will wait on it, but Matt's patience pays dividends here.
Right now to one-on-one with Painter. Teammate does get back. Matt will not keep it in. He'll fall back and let the ball come right back to him. Grabs the full pad there for Skyline. Minute 30 now to OT, and Koolman trying to extend. Will get the pass across, but it's cut out just by TKD. And now Inc. a chance, but it goes wide.
0-2 up for NVS. This could be dangerous. Matt has the entire net to look at. Skyline might need to help them here, and, well, no help needed. Matt had enough on it. TKD could not make the sprint back, and NVS crucial overcommit at the middle of the field, costing them dearly, and the Kool-Aid men find themselves on match point now.
TKD just overextended there on that far right side, and he gets burned by the Kool-Aid men defense. That's a long clear, and it just goes right through here. Now Kool-Aid men back in the driver's seat, A-Wash. They're on match point. NVS trying to extend this to 7.
Absolutely. It's still been such a close series between these two teams. The adjustments made by the Kool-Aid men, one of them didn't really work, and the other one absolutely paid major dividends for them. It's going to be interesting now if NVS has it in them to be able to adjust the final time and really just clean up the back is what I feel like they need to do. There are some really awkward moments from them throughout that last game. And I can't help but think that if they were a little bit more composed in that area, maybe the transition game would have worked a little bit better for them.
I agree. I mean, I think Kool-Aid men, we haven't really seen a lot out of them like we've really been expecting to see, just like we've seen on Friday in the Swiss stage and yesterday in their quarterfinal matchup. This is completely different Kool-Aid men we've really seen, not really used to, and they're not really, I feel like they're playing a little bit nervous, like you mentioned countless times before, and I really think moving forward, if they win this series, I don't really feel all that good about their chances against a team like Draco.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really fancies anybody against Draco. But here's to hoping. Kool-Aid men gonna, of course, back themselves to win this next game, give themselves at least a shot at taking down the Kings of BLCS. But that's not to say that NVS don't have other plans in mind. They've got to win 2 in a row, Nation. 5 minutes left on the 5 minutes now on the clock.
Game 6 underway on Neo Tokyo, and Kool-Aid men on match point. NVS trying to send us to a Game 7 as Game 7 here, first time all weekend if we get it. Kool-Aid men trying to get out of this series in 6 and get a little bit of a replenisher in the intermission before they got to play against the Titans of Draco Esports.
Yeah, that match will always be tough, but sometimes these moments before can be even tougher. Flips past it. Trying to link up with Ink somehow as Painter has the light touch down. Ink, I like the bump attempt on the back post. And on Matt, catches, forces 2, tries to get the bump on the third. Love the creativity. And ultimately it works out. TKD will find the back of the net.
4:20 on the clock, and NVS strike first here, A-Watch. And now Kool-Aid men again playing from behind in the first frame. And something, you don't want to be down in this game like this where you can close it out. Now Kool-Aid men have got to find a way to respond.
And that play is the exact reason why you have to sometimes stay in the play, even if you have no boost, because sometimes there are ways that you can offer something on the offense, even without the boost, whether it's a flick or whether it's just earning the right 50 on the right player at the right time. That's why high-level players extend their stints at first man all the time, because they create chances like that.
Right, and both these teams it's been a lot of fun to watch this weekend, and Kool-Aid men here really putting up a fight. NVS making Kool-Aid men work for their success here, and if this goes to a Game 7, I will not be shocked as NVS is putting on one hell of a performance this weekend.
Absolutely. They have to get 2 more games out of them, though, to see themselves as BLCS Grand Circuit uh, Winter Main Event finalists. Inc. Hoping for the waterfall down, nearly able to squeeze it in at the front post. TKD should have free control here in the corner, but Matt able to track back, hit it out towards the midfield. Gets a touch more backwards than I think they were anticipating or hoping for, but Skyline gives it up to the backboard. Ink and TKD able to get it out towards midfield once again. Kool-Aid Men starting to find their place, starting to find a couple of good bumps as well. Can they turn it into a goal before too much longer?
And on the drop down, gets busted there. That's a good chance again. Awash comes off the post, and they can't capitalize off the mistake made, and 2:50 on the clock to go, and it's still 1-0.
Yeah, some of these punishments not really coming out from the Kool-Aid Men. There's been a lot of opportunities for them to be able to do that, but Matt off the backboard. Is there anybody there to follow? There's not. Close or most realistic chance was Painter, but would have had to commit quite a far way forward to make it happen. Matt in the corner. We'll get a second shot at it, but TKD likewise will get a second chance to clear this out. TKD does find the demo, looks for an extension demo, does find it, but Skyline's touch out to Ink means that the threat is all but gone.
So now Kool-Aid Men on the other side of the field here. Gets in the back corner, does get beat there, and TKD will push forward here for NVS, taking a 50 with Matt and Ink up for this one. Will not be getting past Skyline. Final 2-minute warning here in Game 6.
Skyline out towards Matt. Sees Painter. I like the passing play. Thoughts from the Kool-Aid Men. But unfortunately for them, NVS had it red. They're not able to quite recover off of the dismantlement of their play, though, as now it's possession for NVS. Ink just waiting to see if TKD can 50 this in a favorable spot. Gets couldn't quite get it. Ink couldn't quite see it through either. Now TKD with full boost to the corner. Past one, the recovery off the sidewall, not quite what they wanted. Drop down is way more wide than Painter was hoping. Matt not quite able to do it themselves. Skyline sees it to the back post, and Ink will kick it out once again. Painter dropped down by Getz, and now TKD just needs to slow this down to find a way to break through this press from the Kool-Aid Man.
1 minute on the clock to go. Big shot there, and Getz comes up with the save. Matt last man back here. Looking for assist there in the midfield from Painter, and Skyline will make the challenge. Pass across. Matt's on the very far side. It's over Ink. But now Kool-Aid Men have got to strike soon. Awash, 50 seconds left.
Yeah, there's actually a really good chance for NVS to break on the counter, but a slight miscommunication between, I think it was Getz and Ink, means that they both committed to the side of the pitch, and nobody was there for the infield pass. They only have 35 seconds left, though, before they can force Game 7. Matt taking to the skies with not a lot left in the tank, 0 in this moment. They do get the corner boost steal, though, and favorable 50 from Skyline towards Painter. The follow-up is not there. Kicks it out. Matt and Skyline now trying to find maybe 1 or 2 last pushes towards the NVS defense to try to keep themselves alive in Game 6. Try to end it here in 6. The drop going to be cleared out by TKD, and unless a miracle happens, it's not going to happen. NVS able to close out Game 6. And Nation, we see ourselves to the full best of 7 of the entire weekend.
We're headed to Champions Field, baby. Game 7 upcoming. Drop those predictions below, as this has been a crazy tight series, as it's going to need one more game to decide the victor.
Yep, you got to put it all on the line now. You still have one more match after this if you want to be champions, but to even get to that spot, you have to give everything that you've got in this moment. It's not going to be easy for either team. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to a Game 7 overtime, or maybe even a goal in the last couple of seconds as everybody pushes for a regulation go-ahead goal. It's going to be close up until the very last moment, I think.
I agree with you there. I think this is about to be a crazy Game 7. NVS can take their full 60 seconds, it looks like, as TKD is not readying up. But Game 7 upcoming, Awash. This should be one really good game of Rocket League to decide the victory of this series. And I think Kool-Aid Men not expected for themselves to be at this point going to Game 7 against NVS. But NVS are putting up one strong fight. And now Kool-Aid Men have 5 minutes to get the job done and get the grand finals NVS, on the other hand, are looking at this match as an upset, and they might just pull it off here.
Actually surprised that NVS took the full 60 seconds. I would think that with the win, they would want to keep the momentum going. It certainly seemed like the Kool-Aid men were ready to go, and last time they took 30 seconds after a win, they ended up losing. So certainly, maybe the moment getting to a couple of these players wanting to not overcorrect anything that's don't fix what's not broken, I suppose, is the mantra of those last couple of moments. But we'll see. Envious and the Kool-Aid men, it's all going to come down to probably just one moment to see which of them will make it onto the grand finals.
Right, you cannot take your foot off the pedal here, and you got to give it your all in the final 4 minutes here of game number 7. Matt from the infield just goes wide. Skyline pass to Matt, the left corner. It's just wide off the post, and Kool-Aid still hang on to control here.
A couple good looks with the interplay from the Kool-Aid men, but again, like a lack of, I guess, effectiveness has kind of plagued those types of plays for them this entire series. I love the looks. I love the idea from them. Just that it's not quite worked out the way that they've wanted it to. Oh, that's an excellent pinch back inside towards Matt for the Kool-Aid men to go up 1-0.
That's an excellent play there, Awash. You get the 50-50, and it goes towards the net, and then the pass across, and TKD used all he had to get the first save, and he's just in a terrible position for the second one. Just couldn't get there. But a minute 6 gone, and Kool-Aid back on top.
Yeah, absolutely. The 60 seconds certainly has gone in their favor, at least at first glance. Has had not enough boost to be able to see themselves past Matt. Inc. Oh, nice dunk from Painter. TKD almost caught it in a very poor position with a potential goal inbound. It's not going to quite work out for the Kool-Aid men. Matt nearly put this into their own top corner, but still winning all of these 50s, and now the slow play to buy time for their teammates to reset.
Now NVS trying to make their first push here in Game 7 for the other end, but Kool-Aid hanging on strong in the midfield, hanging on to control in the midfield, and now they got to play defense here. It's 2 minutes almost off the clock, and NVS trying to find a way to respond after the opening goal from Kool-Aid.
I like the bump on the backboard idea from NVS. I'd like to see them maybe explore that a little bit more, especially if the backboard control from the Kool-Aid men seems to hold up. Oh my goodness, Getz almost finds the top right corner, but the crossbar once again said no.
That crossbar, that fourth defender is hanging on and playing a perfect job for the Kool-Aid men. They really got that contract situation sorted out perfectly here for Game 7.
Yeah, some people might have called that disconnect earlier the fourth man for NVS. Well, it seems like the Kool-Aid men have a fourth man of their own in the crossbar. So the way I see it, Nation, all things are still even.
All things even here. 1-0 here for Kool-Aid men. Game 7 now in the back half here, and NVS have got to find a response soon and make their presence known.
Matt vaulting over Inc. to make this touch towards the corner. Inc. gets a double commit, maybe a 3-on-2 moment. Oh my goodness, it is going to go once again into the back of the Kool-Aid men's net.
2:04 on the clock, and is that luck? Gets in the pre-flip forward, and it goes behind him for the goal. 2:04 to go. We're tied.
That is crazy. Just we've seen some pretty weird goals in this series, but that certainly takes the cake. The pre-flip redirect off of to completely dismantle a Kool-Aid men counterattack. Just perfectly timed, miraculous moment for NVS to find themselves back in this series. Quick counterattack though, has to get this in the corner, and they do well.
Now Matt gonna fall back here. Final 90 seconds approaching in game number 7. Long clear forward, and Inc. will start the charge for NVS here, and the clear is missed by Painter. This is dangerous now for Kool-Aid, but they get the clear across, and TKD is to fall back.
Skyline not able to get onto it. Inc. couldn't really drop it down, so they'll try to keep possession through the corner. Gets towards the net. Painter, good backflip. Do they have the shot? TKD sends 2 players flying from the Kool-Aid men. Now Inc. tries to get all the flicks they can. Maybe a bump or 2. They certainly got 1. Second might have made it almost too easy for Inc. to get the back pass to keep possession. Inc. might not be able to get there. They get demoed by Matt. TKD couldn't quite keep it close. Now Gets, is there a counter? Oh, I like the attempt on the bump on Painter. Skyline. Or double tapping coming. It's not there. TKD with boost to spare goes off the ceiling. What can they make happen off of this play? They set it up for Inc. 37 seconds left on the clock, Nation, and NVS has taken control of Game 7.
37 seconds to go. NVS up top in the lead here. That might be a shocker to the Kool-Aid men here. 37 seconds to work with. They got to pull off something soon, as now the Kool-Aid men facing an upset here.
So they've got to create something quick. And for all of the good looks they've had, it comes to naught if they don't make yet another one count.
Final 30 seconds, a 2-on-1, long clear, it's up to Matt. Skyline, redirect attempt there, gets the clear out. Now Kool-Aid men's got to find a way to turn it around and keep possession. They can't do so. 20 seconds to go, and here comes NVS.
Oh my goodness, what a postage stamp on Game 7 from Inc. Beats two of the Kool-Aid men players, and a perfect flip reset down the middle makes this nearly impossible for the Kool-Aid men to pull off. It will take something quick off of the kickoff here for them to have any chance.
They go for the Spanish and don't get it. 10 seconds to go. Ladies and gentlemen, what a turn of events here. NVS Esports are moving on to the grand finals where Draco Esports awaits them.
Wow. It absolutely took until the final moments for NVS to be able to close this out. The own goal, the, I guess, only consolation that the Kool-Aid men have. They had so many good looks throughout the entire game. Both teams did, really. But ultimately, it was NVS that was able to convert more of them. Fourth man aside for either team, NVS just were more effective in this matchup.
Right.
And they fully deserve a spot in the grand finals.
Right. He said it was going to come down to the final couple seconds here, and it came in the 38th second where NVS put on that 2-1 lead, and since then put on two more. So, I mean, what a turn of events here. NVS pull off the shocker in Game 7.
Yeah, and now NVS setting themselves up for a grand finals matchup with Draco Esports. This match is going to be no easier than the one that they just managed to pull off. But they'll have to take a couple moments to recharge, because it's going to be an absolute uphill battle to try to take a win in this next one.
Right, I mean, what a series. NVS put on a talented performance here. So now we're going to go into a quick 15-minute intermission break. We'll be right back with the grand finals where Draco Esports takes on NVS.